friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we are continuing our watch of Columbo with Season 1, Episode 5, Lady in Waiting. This episode premiered December 15th, 1971. Its guest stars were Susan Clark as the killer, Jessie Royce Landis, Richard Anderson, and Leslie Neilsen, the GOAT. The episode description is, a brother and sister struggle with each other for control of a family-owned corporation. Peter Falk as Columbo. Oh, that music just really... I think the fuzziest season for me is Season 1 of Columbo. Like, I genuinely, truly don't remember a lot of things that happened in these early episodes. Maybe because I've seen them over a year ago at this point. Leslie Neilsen. I almost feel like I can't breathe. You know, when you're trying to be so quiet, you breathe like you're barely breathing.
Morning. Morning, Charles.
Good morning.
Oh, shut up.
Ah, thank you. Good morning,
I'm
Doc.
an idiot. Wait, is that... Wait, please tell me that's Oscar Goldman from $6 Million Man.
You're sulking.
I'm not sulking.
Of course you're sulking.
Oh.
It isn't necessary. We have had our usual argument, and now the matter is settled.
Now listen to me. He isn't for you, believe me, but if you insist upon seeing him...
Dude, I feel like such an idiot right now.
My feelings.
You have no right to control my
That's
life.
freaking Oscar from $6 Million Man. I feel like such an idiot.
What difference does that make? He's an honest, hard worker.
Yes, he is. And he's ambitious. He's intelligent. He's a good attorney. And he has a flair for the advertising business. And he's also smart enough to know a golden opportunity when he sees it.
And if your choice in men friends were more mature, believe me, I would stay out of your life.
Therefore, I've taken the appropriate steps. Charles?
Yes, sir.
Car ready?
What do you mean you've
Yes, sir.
taken appropriate
Good.
steps? Bryce, what have you done?
I have written a letter to Peter Hamilton. He'll receive it when he gets back from Atlanta today.
What?
I told him that if he continues to see you, contrary to my wishes, his employment with Ellison Chadwick will be terminated.
He won't care if you fire him.
If your name wasn't Chadwick, and you didn't have all of this, do you really think that Peter Hamilton would give you a second look?
Oof.
I'm sorry if I sound cruel. I don't mean to be.
Anything I wanted to do on my
Beth.
own, you or he prevented it.
Beth, this is hardly the time.
No, it never is.
You've stepped all over her, dude. Now it's your time to die. I'm actually slapping myself. How did I not recognize that that was the guy who played Oscar Goldman? It had to be around the same
Charles?
time, though, right?
Yes, Miss
When did
Chadwick?
$6 Million Man come out?
Tomorrow's your day off, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Will you be leaving tonight with the rest of the staff?
Well, I'd planned to, Miss Chadwick. But if you'd like me to stay...
Oh, no, that won't be necessary.
No, this was before the $6 Million Man. This episode came out in 1971, and the first
Hello?
episode of $6 Million Man wasn't until
Yes, operator
73.
speaking.
He does look a little younger.
How are you? I'm going in
Maybe
the
that's
wheel
why I
in a
shouldn't beat
minute.
myself
I thought
up.
I'd call you first and say good morning.
Hi, Leslie.
You always surprise me.
Well, that's better than being predictable, right?
How's Atlanta?
Oh, just fine, all of it. Hey,
I'm sorry, every time I see Leslie Nielsen in
you
something,
too.
I expect him to start
you
making
be
jokes
back?
or being as
well, later
unserious
tonight.
as humanly possible.
Thought I'd come right over from the airport. Darling, hello.
Darling, let's make it tomorrow. I mean, it'll be late and you'll probably be tired.
Well,
No, really. Tomorrow'll be much better.
I'll call you first thing in the morning.
You do love me, don't you?
No, I hate you with a passion.
Goodbye, darling. Have a safe trip.
Like, that sounded like it should have been in a parody film. Leslie Nielsen's the GOAT. Yeah, this episode was 71. 1973 was $6 Million Man. So this was like right before Richard Anderson had the role of Oscar Goldman. $6 Million Man is another show where I feel like I should like pick certain episodes to react to, because that show's pretty entertaining to me. Imagine killing your brother because he doesn't like your boyfriend. I feel like that's a whole new level of petty. Just a couple chocolates before committing a murder. Just girl things. Oh, they're playing psychedelic flashback music. Oh, excuse me, subtitles say dream music. This is an extremely 70s thing to do. I'm sorry, I don't remember, is this the actual murder taking place, or is this some kind of weird dream sequence? Or is she just daydreaming the perfect murder? She's just shoving chocolate in her mouth. How unfunny would it be if this entire episode was just a dreamed up murder?
Beth? Beth, you awake?
Yes, who is it?
Will you open the front door? I've lost my key.
I'm in bed already. Come in this way.
Are they unlocked?
Yes?
Oh, don't forget to turn off the alarm.
This
It's
music
off.
is so... it's like crying whales.
Beth, why didn't you turn off the alarm? Oh!
Is she dreaming up this entire sequence?
We found a key ring in the bushes, Miss Chadwick. Does it belong to your brother?
Yes, those were his keys.
The front light's burned out. He must have dropped his keys and couldn't find them.
She's
in the
just
dark.
daydreaming of
Probably walking
how
around
perfect
your
this
French
murder is going to
doors.
be while she's sitting in bed,
was asleep.
cradling her
I'd
gun
taken sleeping
and
pills and I
taking bites of
didn't hear him.
selective
We
chocolates.
figure he broke the glass and opened the door.
I thought it was a burglar.
Obviously a mistake, Miss Chadwick. A terrible mistake.
Boy, that was a creepy Half-a-Lumps and Woozles Winnie the Pooh kind of sequence. Hopefully some of you actually know what I'm talking about with that. The Half-a-Lumps and Woozles are very confusals. Oh boy. Not the green shag carpet. Oh, he got the letter.
Well, that does it.
Oh, okay, I guess it was just a dream sequence then. She was literally dreaming up the perfect murder. Didn't like that sound effect. Oh, maybe it's just the musical score. I thought it was the actual sound of the gate closing. I guess not. Alright, let's see how well her daydream matches up. Oh boy. Oh, is he a witness to this? I don't remember.
Beth,
Bryce.
you know the most ridiculous thing happened. I've lost my key to the front door.
How did you get in?
With this.
A spare.
Yes, I leave it in a flower pot by the front door. Why didn't you answer? I was ringing.
I forgot what a good murder sequence this is. Work on your running form, Leslie Neilsen. Wow, all the added sound effects, though, to build up the anxiety.
Beth. Beth. What is it?
I shot Bryce.
You what?
He came in my room and the alarm went off. Go to see. I wouldn't know he...
I forgot, this is actually a really well done murder sequence. Really well done. Somebody please, for the love of God, turn that alarm off. It's driving me crazy.
Matthew's dead.
That was such a good murder sequence. I mean, I know I was making fun of the psychedelic, like, ideal murder, but it really helps play into the actual murder because then we're shown that she has to improvise because it didn't go as planned. It was a really cool sequence. Even though the alarm was annoying as heck.
You guys all finished? Okay, that's it.
That was clearly, that was added in post.
No, not really.
I was half asleep because I'd taken a sleeping pill.
Burglar alarm was on.
Well, yes, there's a switch beside my bed.
Do you have any idea why your brother went through your friend's
This
store,
voiceover was
knowing
so
he probably
obviously
set the
added
alarm?
in post.
I guess he lost his keys and he came round the side of the house and tried to get in my window. I didn't feel very well yesterday, so I didn't go out.
Did I hear you say you stayed home today?
Yes, that's
didn't-
what I said.
You didn't go out at all?
No, no, that's what I said.
Thank you.
Or did Miss Chadwick telephone you after she shot her brother?
No, I was on my way over. I stopped at the gate when I heard the shots.
How many?
3.
The alarm was going. Why did you drop by, Mr. Hamilton?
I came to see Bryce.
You account for your whereabouts this evening?
I came in from Atlanta. I landed at 10 o'clock. I took a cab from there, got into my apartment about 10:45. You can check with the doorman. He can vouch for that.
Why did you turn around and come over here after just getting home?
Miss Chadwick and I have been seeing each other, and Bryce objected.
So you came over here to kind of have it out with him?
I suppose you could put it that way.
These your brother's keys?
Yes, where did you find them?
In the bushes, ma'am. With that front light burned out, it's really tough to see.
Gentlemen,
Okay, so that one is planned.
have our statements. If you don't mind, I think
No,
that...
I'd like to go through this just once more to make sure I got things straight. Miss Chadwick, you said you went to bed at 9:30, right?
Yes,
And you took a sleeping pill before you retired.
that's right.
Well, would you mind telling me what happened after that?
After 11, I heard the glass break and the alarm go off, and I woke up.
You thought it was a burglar.
Yes, yes, I thought it was a burglar. You see, it was pitch dark, and I was half asleep because I'd taken the sleeping
She
pill.
didn't turn off the lights in
And
her
I heard
room,
the glass
though.
break and the alarm go off, and so I reached for the gun, and then I just started shooting.
Gentlemen, we'll be available for questioning tomorrow. Right now, I'd like to see that Miss Chadwick gets some rest.
Excuse me. Were you and your brother the only ones that were living here?
Yes, well, except for Charles and the maid. My mother moved to Palm Desert after my father died.
Who is Charles?
The butler.
I suppose he's off tonight.
Yes.
Great big place, isn't it? Well, good night.
Haha. You have no idea who you've been introduced to. Oh, it's so weird to see Leslie Nielsen in roles that aren't, like, parody films. Yorkie!
Easy, boy. Easy, fella. Easy. Easy.
It's a bit of a
Easy
ratty
now.
Yorkie, isn't he?
No, not Enrico, darling. No. Be nice,
Enrico.
darling. Be nice. You there. Pay the cab and bring my luggage. Come on, dear.
You have any luggage?
And he does it anyway, because he's a king. He's a short, polite king.
Right here.
This is why we love Columbo, ladies and gentlemen. Even when people are downright rude to him, he's not rude back. He's just nice.
And there's $10.50 on that meter.
Gee, I've only got $11. Well, go ahead. Keep it all.
Wow, 50 extra cents. He's rich. He can quit
You're
his
a
job.
sport.
I love him to death. He is short, tiny, and very polite. And he just meets people's rudeness with kindness. We love to see it.
All right, easy, boy.
Now,
Come on, Enrico.
Come here.
There's a tough little monkey you got there.
Enrico is not a monkey. He's a pedigreed silky.
Oh, I can see that, ma'am. It's just a figure of speech.
Where's my daughter?
I don't know, ma'am. She's probably asleep.
Well, where's Charles?
It's his day off. Are you Mrs. Chadwick?
Yes. And you?
My name is Columbo, ma'am. I'm a lieutenant from the police.
Just a minute, not so quickly. I'd like to look that over. Well, I must say you hardly look the role.
Well, you know how it is.
You brought my bags in?
Yes, ma'am. The cab fare was $10.50 and was a 50-cent tip, so that's $11.
I'll see that you're reimbursed, Lieutenant. Now tell me, what happened? Where is she?
Here I am, Mother.
Saw that coming from a mile away.
You killed my son.
Mother.
Oh, you were always so impossible, always. Causing trouble wherever you were. He looked after her all of her life, and now you've destroyed him.
Mother, you don't understand. It wasn't my fault.
I don't want to hear about it.
I'm sorry, Lieutenant. This must be very embarrassing for you.
No, not really, no. You see, I come from a very big family, and at dinner time it was like, well, you know, Madison Square Garden, and we used to patch it up with coffee.
Is that a hint?
Well, I smelled it when I came in. I sure could use it. Ma'am, would you like me to take your bags upstairs?
No.
Chivalry is not dead, and it comes in the form of Columbo. It's not dead.
He was a special man, Lieutenant. Very special.
He chose the most serious portrait of all time. Is that his casting photo?
When my husband died, I couldn't stay in this house any longer.
Was that when your son took over the business, ma'am?
Yes, and turned it into one of the largest advertising agencies on the West Coast.
Really? Marvelous.
He took over from my husband in many
marvelous.
ways, including dealing with Beth and her problems. Her choice of men, when she's had a choice, has never been particularly mature.
Oh, yeah.
I love how he
that,
gets
Peter
people
Exactly.
talking.
He's an obvious fortune hunter.
Of course, she would have no way of seeing through him, would she?
I'm afraid not. She's something of a child, Lieutenant. Her decisions are always vague and emotional.
I like how Columbo's
I don't know what's
responding
gonna
to
happen
her
the company
here.
now.
Really?
I certainly can't.
Marvelous.
And I don't want to bring anyone in from the outside.
You won't have to.
And what does that mean?
It means that I'm an officer of the company.
In name only.
That's because Bryce would never let me participate.
Of course he
Did
would.
everyone make the
You aren't
decisions
even
for her except
capable of
herself?
running your own life.
I've never been allowed to run my own life. Lieutenant, won't you sit down?
Thank you.
But things are different now, aren't they? There's a change in the status quo.
All of a
right,
sudden,
Lieutenant,
Columbo's
I've
like,
kept you waiting long enough. What can I do for you?
Oh, no, that's all right. No, I only have one problem, and that is, thank you. I couldn't sleep last night. There were a couple of points that were bothering me, so I thought I'd come over here and clear them up. That newspaper.
Newspaper?
Yes. The one that I noticed on the table in the foyer. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but, didn't I hear you say that you were home all day yesterday?
That's right.
See, that's what puzzles me. How did that newspaper get there?
Haven't you ever heard of home delivery?
see, that is such a small, insignificant detail
Yeah,
that
I
I
have a
wouldn't
newspaper
even have
delivered to my
picked
house
up on
every
that.
The newspaper on the foyer table, that was a late edition. I mean, I even saw racetrack results in it.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow you.
Well, if you were home all day, who brought home the newspaper?
Well, Bryce must have brought it home.
Yes, but Bryce came in through your room. He didn't come in through the front door. I mean, he was shot on that side of the house. How did that newspaper get to the other end of the house?
That is such a small,
You seem to be
niche
cross-examining my
detail.
daughter.
That's all right, Mother.
I love that the writers think of all of these
Bryce must have
ways
brought
that
it in, and in
Columbo
my
picks up on the
confusion, I
clues.
picked it up and put it on the foyer table when I went to answer the door.
Yes, that would be an answer, except for one thing. You left your brother's attaché case out there. Why wouldn't you bring them both in at the same time?
I didn't see it.
They couldn't have been too far apart.
People are inconsistent when they're in a state of shock, Lieutenant. It's foolish of you to expect rational behavior at a time like that.
Well, I'm sure you're probably right about this. You know, I only get into it because I try to figure it out in my mind. You understand that? So I'm going to run along. Thank you for the coffee, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Listen, about that $11, ma'am,
If you leave me your card, I'll send you a check.
I'm all out of cards.
Here.
Oh, he really wants his $11. He had to scrape for every penny back then.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Come on, Enrico. Oh god, that is so weird to see. I was just in Beverly Hills back in May, and we passed the Los Angeles courthouse on a drive. So to see this stuff is really weird to me. It's interesting because we don't really get to see, you know, like the courthouse or convictions taking place in Columbo. Like it usually just ends with like a killer getting arrested.
Yes, sir, we have.
But we never really see like the results of that. So it's kind of interesting to have it as like a midway point here, if I'm making sense.
She's home free. You watch. Jupiter and Venus are in good aspect with Pluto.
I have before
Columbo
me
was like,
of the coroner's jury.
I have no idea what that means.
Chadwick deceased. The jury finds that Bryce Chadwick, age 46, came to his death July 21st at his residence, death being caused by 3 .38 caliber bullet wounds in the upper chest. The jury also finds from the evidence submitted that the death of Bryce Chadwick was an accident. Thank you, jury members. This inquest is now closed.
Columbo doesn't like that.
Nice to be believed, isn't it, huh?
Yes. I want to take the whole jury out for dinner.
That is what is known as bribery after the fact.
Oh, is it? Well, I think it's time we made a few changes, that I broke a few patterns.
As long as you don't break ours. How about some lunch to celebrate?
Can I take a rain check? I have a few appointments. You don't mind, do you, darling?
No, that's right.
Oh, when you get back to the office, would you set up a meeting with the heads of the departments?
What's the agenda?
Reorganization.
Morning, Mr. Hamilton.
Oh, Lieutenant.
You remember me?
Yes, I've got a very good memory.
Gee, I tell you, I envy you that. I got to the point, you know, where I can't remember my telephone number.
Yeah, what can I do for you, Lieutenant?
I couldn't help overhearing that she turned you down for lunch. You want to grab a bite with me?
You want to ask me some questions, is that it?
Well, listen, it's my treat.
All right.
Window down, please.
Oh,
Is that even qualified?
I held the whipped cream on the Mighty Malt. That's what you wanted?
Right.
All right, don't forget to let me know before you leave. I need to take the tray. People are always driving off with our trays.
Right. I remember.
Tell me something, you and Mrs. Chadwick...
Sweet glasses, Leslie.
You gonna be married?
You don't believe in preliminaries, do you?
Well, you know, sometimes it's just...
Yes, we're going to be married, but we haven't set the date yet. Mainly because of Bryce. Do you think that the two of us did Bryce in together?
Do I think it was a conspiracy? No, no. You know, I have this bug about tying up loose ends. Listen, I want to thank you. You've been very helpful to me.
Suppose you ask the question that you haven't asked. Whether or not I'm a fortune hunter.
Well, I never intended...
I'm not. I love Beth. With her money or without her money. But I won't be a hypocrite, Lieutenant. I'm sorry about poor Bryce being killed, but it has gotten Beth out from under his thumb.
I think that, in a way, her brother's death is the best thing that ever happened to her.
Motive. He already suspects her. He has his motive.
Hey, mister! You forgot the tray!
Sorry.
It's all right.
Once again, a prime example of how Columbo finds situations to put himself and other people in to get them to talk.
May I assist you, sir?
No, I was looking for Miss, You're Charles, aren't you?
Are we acquainted?
Oh, I saw you at the inquest. No, I'm Lieutenant Columbo. I'm looking for Miss Chadwick. Do you know where I can get in touch with her?
Yes, she's
That
at
is
the
such
beauty
a cool
parlor,
car.
Eugene's.
Uh-huh.
Will that be all, sir?
Yes, Charles.
That is
yeah, I
such a
think so.
sick car. Columbo thinks so too.
Hey, smells new.
It is, sir.
Well, I want to tell you, it's a beauty. That's a wonderful piece of machinery.
Will that be all, sir?
Yeah, Charles, that'll be all. I don't want you to worry about me, Charles. I'm going to go around the side of the house here, and I'm going to conduct an experiment.
Charles is like, should we let him? Hey, they reused the same shot from Death Lends a Hand. Wow, they blatantly just reused the shot from Death Lends a Hand.
My name is Lieutenant Columbo.
The police?
Well, look, now, it's not serious. I just want to talk to her for a moment.
Oh, well, right through that door, Lieutenant. Cubicle 4.
Thank you.
Lieutenant, your cigar?
What about it?
Well, the fragrance is not, compatible.
See, that's a shame. I just lit it.
Oh my god, it's so red. That carpet is so red.
What brings you here, Lieutenant?
Oh, I stopped by the house. I talked to Charles, and he told me where you'd be, so I thought I'd come by. Do you mind?
It doesn't matter. I'm a captive audience.
We can go, Miss Chadwick.
No, that's all right. Go ahead and finish.
Saw your new car, by the way. Oh, that's some automobile.
Thank you.
Really beautiful. Beautiful. I suppose you have to order those things weeks in advance, don't you?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Real change of pace for you, isn't it?
Well, I felt like something racy, as they say in advertising, a new image.
Yeah. Well, you know, I can understand that. I'm sorry. Because it's a natural thing, I think, after a death in the family to want to break loose.
That's one way of putting it.
If you had ordered the car some time ago, that would mean that you knew in advance that you were going to change your style.
Finish, Miss Chadwick.
Bessie?
Yes.
God, the details in the writing for this show are unbelievable.
Looks fabulous.
Yes?
Fabulous.
Just amazing. Miss Chadwick, you look sensational.
You really think so?
I'd say you were a new woman.
Goodbye, Jean. Thank
Goodbye.
you. See you next week.
All
Bye,
of the
Lisa.
details in this show that Columbo picks up on, that the audience doesn't even think to pick up on or expect, is just a testament to how clever the writers were and how much of a pain in the ass this show must have been to write.
Are you headed home?
Yes?
Do you mind if I meet you there? Because it kind of has to do with your house.
All right, I'll meet you there.
Lieutenant, your cigar.
Now, you
Well, that's a
figured
really
that your
pretty
brother had to walk
staging
around
shot.
the
That's
side
really
of the house
lovely.
like this, is that right?
I figure it, and so did the coroner's jury.
Right. Now, you see, you had to walk on grass.
Is there some point to this?
Yes, ma'am, there is. You see, now this grass is kind of dry because the sun's been out. But today's Thursday. And,
That is actually weird. Today is Thursday.
Cut the grass on Thursday. Excuse me a minute.
Today is Thursday.
You see?
That's ironic.
Grass. But you know there was no grass on your brother's shoe?
I'm afraid I don't quite understand.
Your brother was shot a week ago, on Thursday. And I looked at the photographs of the body. I even had them blown up, and for the life of me, I just couldn't see any grass on the soles of his shoe, and I couldn't figure that out. Why? It was freshly cut.
All
and it was
these
sticky because it was
little
at night and it
details.
was dew.
You know, that's very good. He must have had particles of grass on his shoes. But they were probably brushed off on the carpet. And unfortunately, the room's been cleaned.
Just one more thing. I guess Charles has the stepladder by now.
I would think.
Yeah. Oh, the other morning when I was over here, I noticed these potted plants.
How observant.
And they're very pretty, you know. But I got to thinking, I said to myself, you know, sometimes people, they keep a spare key outside just in case they forget their own key.
So much nuanced writing in here.
You see this? This imprint here?
Yes, what about it?
Well, that's like a fossil or something. You see, a spare key must have been hidden in there for a long time.
There was a spare key.
Oh?
I put it there myself when the alarm system was installed. Bryce didn't know about it. I also removed it myself recently because I had second thoughts.
What do you mean by second thoughts?
Well, if a burglar were in fact on the premises, he might find the key, and then what good would the alarm system be?
Good point.
The official verdict is death by accidental means, and that should satisfy you. I'm afraid I must insist you leave me alone.
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh, there was something about that
Goodbye.
expression that he made there. And how long the camera stayed on him there. Also, I know this is like a weird thing to say, but throughout the show, you constantly see Columbo
Well, is that it?
holding flowers or being around flowers.
You're not bored, are you?
And
No.
this is not going anywhere. I don't mean it to go anywhere, but there's something about like the imagery of Columbo with flowers that is like, oh, it's like a certain innocence is about him.
By the black bag. Did you bring it with you? Everybody set for this afternoon's meeting?
Yes, but I was wondering, Beth.
Huh?
Well, don't you think it's a little premature? Perhaps another week for things to ease up.
No. It must be today.
All right, it's up to you.
What is this groovy background music?
Well, what do you think?
Interesting. A little out of your style, though, isn't it?
No, I don't think it is. I'm perfectly capable of making my own decisions. Oh, what is that silver dress over there on the rail?
And I'm not sure what's gotten into you, but I'm not sure I like it. I'll see you. If you need me, I'll be back at the office.
Not the freeze frame.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Honey, I have
Will you
seen a
please
lot
take
of
your
outfits on this show, but that one takes the cake. What on earth is that? She looks like a Polly Pocket.
We've all been through a period of anxiety and indecision since my brother's
That
death.
hat is
But in a corporate sense,
quite
we
the
must
statement.
maintain our continuity. Therefore, as of today, I am assuming the presidency. As my first order of business, I would like to announce the elevation of Mr. Peter Hamilton to Executive Vice President in charge of accounts. Seems to me we've been selling everything but our own product.
Beth, forgive me, but that is our job.
Forgive me, but it's not. Our job is to grow. Now, when was the last time this agency took on a new account? Now, if you disagree with my approach, you're perfectly free to sever your relationship with the firm.
No, Beth, I feel that I can accommodate myself to your way of thinking.
Yes, I'm sure you can. Oh, one more thing, a happy and personal note. I'd like to announce my engagement to Mr. Hamilton. Thank you.
I
Are those
feel like
letters for me to
whenever
sign?
somebody says one more thing, it's like they violated Columbo by stealing his line.
Yeah, right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Peter doesn't like that.
You must be out of your mind. What qualifies you to run this company?
I had a very good teacher, my brother. I've been studying his reports for years and asking questions. He may not have known it, but he was grooming me.
Well, don't forget, I am the majority stockholder. I will not relinquish control.
Don't be naive, Mother. Who else can take over and still keep it in the family? Besides, I'm prepared to go to court if necessary, and you know what that means. Publicity, interviews, scandal. You prepared to take over the company? You're getting old, Mother. Hadn't you noticed?
Peter is the true victim of this episode.
Am I interrupting something?
What do you want, Lieutenant?
Well, I just thought that... Why, hello there, fella. How you doing? I got a treat for you. I got a little something for him. Here you are. You know, I've been carrying these things around with me all week.
Hello, little fella. That was wholesome as heck.
Oh, easy. Easy. I think we have a personality conflict.
Do you need me for anything, Lieutenant? Come here.
No, ma'am. Oh, I don't think so.
I love Columbo with dogs and children.
As you
It's very
wish.
cute. So cute.
I'll leave the two of you alone.
Oh, that's all right, Peter. The lieutenant is going to be very brief. Well, Columbo,
I'm pretty
what's
sure every
the
time she said
about
Peter on
keys
set,
and
he was
brass
probably
and
like...
newspapers. Oh, thank you.
When I was over at your house there the other day and I was climbing up and down that ladder, I tell you, I had a thought. Something else occurred to me that's been keeping me awake at night.
Oh, what might
I
that
really
be?
like the staging of some of these shots
Wondering
in the
about that
episodes.
burnt-out bulb
Oh.
in front of your house. And I went over there this morning to take a look at it. And,
You brought it with you.
oh, yeah. This is a 100-watt bulb. 100 watt. Got a life, $750, $800. Now, if your house is anything like my house, then you burn the outside light 8-10 hours a day. So that means it would last 2.5 months. I hate to change bulbs outside my house. Because no matter how tight I get that up in the lamp, you see, they attract a lot of dirt and gook, and they're full of dead bugs, and I just don't even like to go up there and touch them.
Would you get to the point?
Why is that bulb dirt and dust free? That bulb is clean as a whistle. Now, I think that's kind of strange.
Somebody had to think of all of this and write it into the script. That is insane to me. That is like, that is so much detail.
We're a fastidious family. If the bulb is clean, it's because servants cleaned it.
They cleaned the burnt-out bulb.
They work in the daytime, so how would they know? All right, Lieutenant, I think that'll be enough. I don't ever want to see you again. You'll be refused admittance to my house and to this office. I have a great deal of work to do, and I no longer can indulge your suspicions. If you think you have a case against me, go to the district attorney. Is that clear?
Yes. That's very clear.
Columbo's like, now it's just a matter of time before I have to get her. The face he made at her when he walked out, he went... If you watch Peter Falk very carefully in these scenes, you catch some golden facial expressions.
Take it easy. Calm down.
Peter is absolutely the victim here.
Somebody in city government who can do something?
Calm down. Take it easy.
Something's wrong. What is it?
All right, there is. Number one, this business of arbitrarily promoting me. To say the least, it smacks of high-level nepotism. It's,
Yeah.
I thought it would please you.
It did please me, but don't you think you could have consulted with me? I was just as surprised here as everybody else.
I mean, we are going to get married, aren't we?
That's not the point. I would like to have had a hand in the decision. Now, it's not like you to act this way. This is a way out of character for you. I'm not sure, Beth, you're the same person.
Maybe Bryce was right.
About what?
About your being the wrong kind of man for me.
What's that, the third?
I get paid not to count.
Just keep them coming, that's all.
There's the Ransom for a Dead Man theme again, on the piano in the background. Man, they must love that tune as much as I do. It's an iconic theme.
Well, I didn't think you people were supposed to drink on duty.
Oh, no, that's coffee. Oh, I don't drink. No, it's been a very long day. You see, it's been a long day for you, too.
Oh, it shows, huh? It's quite a coincidence, you and I both meeting in the same place like
Yes, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
What are you reading?
Oh, this is a transcript of the inquest. Well, listen, congratulations. Understand you're engaged.
Not necessarily.
Oh, really? What happened?
Let's get back to this. I want to ask you something.
I want the piano
Lieutenant,
version of
why
that
are
track
you
that's playing in the
hounding
background so bad.
Hounding? Who, me? Oh, no, I'm not hounding anybody. Oh, no, no.
No, what I'm trying to do is get to the bottom of this thing.
You know, Lieutenant, I like it. I really do. But you are devious.
Devious?
Now, your job was finished with the coroner's verdict, but you're still hanging around. You're still asking questions. You even managed to bump into me here. You don't really think that Beth killed her brother in cold blood, now do you?
Well, as a matter of fact, I do. Mr. Hamilton, you asked me what
He's
I
playing
thought.
his poker face.
Now I'm going to tell you. I think she set it up. I think it was deliberate. And I think you can help me prove it.
Oh, no. No, I know Beth didn't kill anybody. It was an accident.
Can I tell you about my wife? You
Always.
know, my wife, she's got a proverb for every situation.
I'm sure that your wife is a very nice woman. But what has that got to do with the case?
To be honest, she solved it for me. We're having an argument last night. She says to me, "You're putting the cart before the horse." And I said, right. In this case, the horse is before the cart. And I had the answer.
And what was that?
In the transcript, you weren't very specific. I know, I just read every word of it.
I want him to
think
talk
on the
about
night of
his
the
wife
murder, you
all the
said
time.
something. If you can remember that, and you tell me you got a terrific memory, then you'll know. You'll know for sure whether or not Beth Chadwick murdered her brother.
All right. And what do I remember?
Who is it? Who's there?
Round 2.
Hello, operator. Get me the police. Operator? Oh, operator, I'm sorry. Forget it. Lieutenant Columbo? Is that you? Come on, Lieutenant. Come in and have a drink. Lieutenant Columbo.
This is the way your brother came in that night, isn't it?
How did you get in?
Same way your brother did, with a spare key. One of my men located your locksmith.
Ha.
He was very cooperative.
What do you expect to prove by this bit of nonsense?
Well, I don't want to prove anything, ma'am. I came to arrest you.
Arrest me?
Yes, ma'am.
Get her.
For the murder of your brother.
Oh.
And I did have a reason for coming in this way. I wanted to see the look on your face.
Oof.
Well, I'll consider myself under arrest. And now I want to see the look on your face when I call my lawyer.
I knew it wasn't an accident the first night. I knew it as soon as I saw that newspaper, but I didn't have any proof. I had to wait for the proof. I had to wait for your fiancé to give it to me.
From Peter?
Yes, ma'am. You see, according to your story, you were asleep at night. The alarm woke you up, you reached for a gun, and you shot what you thought was a burglar. Couldn't be. Because Mr. Hamilton, who was driving up outside at the time, he heard both the shots and the alarm. He heard the shots first, then the alarm. That's the cart before the horse. I mean, how could the alarm wake you if the shots came first? Your brother came walking in here, just the way I did tonight. You shot him. And then you set the alarm. A few seconds later.
The writing is unbelievable on this show. It's unbelievably good.
No, he's a very good lawyer, and he prides himself on his memory. And he won't like it. But he'll testify against you in court if he has to. No, really, you don't want to do that. Policeman outside, what would be the point? Besides, you're too classy a woman. Man, would you get dressed now? Take all the time you need.
That was such a good ending. What the heck? Oh my gosh. That was such a good finale. The staging at the end was so good. There were so many great staging shots in this episode where they just let you sit in the moment and breathe in the scene. It was so good. And that ending where he just kind of goes over to the window and he sighs and he's like, all right, and smokes the cigar and he's done. He got the killer. It's these moments of quiet badassery from Columbo that makes me love the character so, so much. There was no dramatic final conclusion to that episode. It was just Columbo being like, look, hey, you don't want to do that, and you're too classy for this, so why don't we just end this right now? And Beth goes along with it, and Columbo just quietly strides on over to the window and lights his cigar, and then the camera pans out as Columbo sighs and looks out the window. He doesn't even have to try. He's just that cool, and every time I think I cannot love this character more, they do something in an episode that makes me go, this is the greatest character of all time. I love him to death.
Really marvelous.
Okay, so I made a couple of notes on the episodes. Right off the bat, I mentioned earlier, the murder sequence is incredibly well done, very well shot, very well edited. I thought that they did an amazing job of like raising the anxiety and the tension for the audience, especially by layering the alarm with the screaming music, with Beth's looks of anxiety. It just all came together in a really awesome way that made the murder like it was anxiety inducing. It actually reminded me a lot of Prescription Murder when Dr. Fleming is murdering Carol and you can hear the music screaming, but you can also hear the telephone screaming, and then you can see Carol struggling, and it just makes for a really uneasy murder sequence. So whoever did the editing in this episode for the murder did a really good job, and I think the build-up played really well all around. Something else about this episode I really enjoyed was the staging of certain shots. You know, I think of the scene in the beginning with Bryce and Beth standing on opposite sides of the water fountain and they walk towards the camera, and then you have scenes with Columbo and Beth in the garden and they're walking towards us, but the staging of like the plants and the trees around them is really nice. Or you have the scene in the conference room where Peter, Beth, and Columbo are talking, but Columbo's in the middle and Beth is on one side and Peter's on the other, and it's kind of like to show the audience like two people on opposite sides of Columbo, one who's committed the murder and one who's ultimately going to help him at the end. So I thought the staging was really nice in this episode overall, and I think it really served to help immerse the viewer in the scene. And I just really appreciate when shots are longer and they take their time and they really allow you to stay with those characters. I don't think a lot of modern filmmaking does that. I think that we're really accustomed to quick cuts and exchanges of dialogue between characters instead of really being allowed to sit with them in their conversations and how they're relating to each other. And that's something that I've always really appreciated about Columbo. So that was something I noticed during this episode. I think Beth is a very sympathetic character. I think she's very believable. I think that you can feel for her and her desire to really get away from her family and pursue her own life, because her life has just been constantly controlled up until this point. I think that the actress, Susan Clark, did a really, really good job. I love her transatlantic accent. I think it's so lovely whenever the women talk with those very soft, understated transatlantic accents. It makes me like self-conscious of where my mic is placed, and it makes me want to talk later.
I'm afraid I must insist you leave me alone.
Something I really, really, really love about Columbo and their approach to the way they write women is they write women very understated in this show. And I think I said this in my reaction video when I was watching Ransom for a Dead Man, but so many shows today tell you how amazing and badass women are and how good they are at what they do and how they're every bit as good as men. And I notice in these older shows, they're just so much better at showing you how competent women are. They don't tell you, they're not like, oh, well, she's really good at this and she's really good at that. And they show you that she's very clever in the way that she comes up with the murder. She's very deadly. She takes charge. She wants control of her brother's company. She is determined to get what she wants, but they never tell you that or shove it down your throat. They're just like, we're just going to show you. And I really appreciate that method to storytelling where it's more focused on showing you who these characters are as opposed to telling you all the time, which is something that I think modern TV suffers from. And I think that this episode did that really well. I really liked her. I wouldn't say she's one of my favorites, but I did appreciate her writing, and I think the actress Susan Clark did a really, really good job. Other things I like that a reoccurring thing with Columbo's character is he's just constantly polite to people who are rude to him. Like somebody, like so often in the show, you'll see people making like snotty remarks at him or rude commentary, or in this episode, for example, Beth's mother comes into town and she thinks he's the hired help, and so she just treats him like really badly, and she's like, get my bags, take my things in, tip the driver, and Columbo's like, okay. He just goes and does it, pays the guy, brings in her bag.
Gee, I've only got $11. Well, go ahead. Keep it all.
I think it's a testament to Columbo's character, is whenever people are bad to him, his response is not to be rude back. His response is just to be very genuine and very polite, and I think that's such an attractive quality about the character. So I think it shows, like, at the core, Columbo really is like a good-hearted and kind person, and I really like how they exemplify that through his interactions with everyday people.
Ma'am, would you like me to take your bags upstairs?
No. No, thank you.
I know Leslie Neilsen is the comedic actor. He's the comedic guy. I've seen him in Airplane, Scary Movie, The Naked Gun. I've seen him in all these parody movies, and it's really rare for me to sit down and watch him act in something that isn't intended to be funny.
You do love me, don't you?
No, I hate you with a passion.
But he's a really great actor in general. He's incredibly likable. I haven't seen him in a ton of roles outside of parody movies, so maybe this episode was my encouragement to go, try a Leslie Nielsen film that isn't necessarily funny. But I enjoyed him in this role as Peter. I do think he was the real victim, though. He seemed like a genuine, nice guy. I do think they kind of left his story hanging by a thread a little bit. I don't think it was enough to deter the entire episode for me, but it does feel like he just kind of fell off so they could get to that final act in the episode. But not a big deal. All right, now that I've said my spiel on the episode, let's go ahead and see if we can find an excerpt from Shooting Columbo. Ooh, there's a nice picture of Peter Falk and Julie Andrews here. Doesn't have anything to do with the page, but that's a nice picture of them. Okay, so basically the whole premise of this chapter regarding Lady in Waiting is the fact that Peter Falk was like, I want to direct, and NBC was like, well, no, we're not going to let that happen. And so Peter Falk was like, well, then fine, I'm not going to act. And so apparently he repeatedly left the set. And during so, NBC was freaking out because they were like, well, crap, Columbo's a hit and we kind of need him to keep creating these shows because it's giving our network a lot of success. As David Koenig details here, it says, the network had viewed rough cuts of Death Lends a Hand and Murder by the Book. They knew they had a hit. They issued Universal an ultimatum, get Peter Falk back on set. The executives in the tower felt humiliated. Actors never stood up to the studio and won, yet they had no choice but to give Falk his way. To save face, Universal struck a deal. The anticipated schedule had the 6th show being completed by the end of August, 2 full weeks before Falk needed to catch a plane for New York. Universal would let Falk direct show number 6 if he agreed to appear in a 7th Columbo right after. If Peter Falk, the director, made a mess of things, they'd have a backup episode to fulfill their contract to NBC. More likely, Falk would do fine and they'd have an extra episode to sell to NBC. Falk returned to the set jubilant. He asked Levinson and Link how things went without him. We had problems while you were gone, Levinson confessed. We had to close down. Falk asked why. The midget wants to direct. Burn! Boy, NBC and Peter Falk did not have a positive relationship. The more I read about Shooting Columbo, the more I realize how much of a pain in the ass this show was to make. The more I get into this book, and you guys will see, but it just details how many problems they had on and off the set. They had a really tumultuous relationship with Levinson and Link trying to maintain control of their show. And then you have the relationship between Peter Falk in the studio, which wasn't always positive because he was always making these different demands. And the deeper we get into the book, the more detail we'll have on it. But basically, the chapter on Lady in Waiting is Universal and Peter Falk going toe-to-toe. But that is your small fact on Shooting Columbo for today. Once again, guys, if you want to get this book, it is on Amazon. It's by David Koenig. I'm really enjoying the read. It's got a lot of fun facts behind the show. So if you want to check that book out, it is on Amazon. What do you guys think of Lady in Waiting? I think that this is one of the more, I don't want to say like unmemorable episodes, because I think it's a memorable episode, but I think it gets overshadowed by a lot of other ones. What do you guys think of Beth as the killer? What do you think of Leslie Nielsen? I thought it was hilarious that Oscar Goldman's actor was in this and I didn't recognize him right away. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Where does it rank in season 1 of Columbo for you? Are there any standout moments in this episode to you? Drop a comment and let me know your thoughts on Lady in Waiting. Do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying these Columbo reactions. Thank you for checking out today's video, and I will see you guys in the next one. See you later.